Hello everyone and welcome to another live stream. This is getting more and more exciting as more and more are joining. It's really wonderful to see. I also saw that the Northeast Florida Eagle Cam is joining, which is absolutely marvelous. I'm so happy and I'm really exciting. We've been expanding with an incredible rate here. You won't believe it, but I have 20 pages of notes from you, 20 pages. Very nice to see you, wonderful. So before I start, let me just do my acknowledgements so I don't forget. Starting with the D.C.Nest. Thank you to Tommy from the Earth Conservation Corps. Thank you to Laura, VA Eagle, also known as Sherry. Thank you to Janet, Bald Eagles Naturally. From the Northeast Florida Nest, thank you to Gretchen, Lady Hawk, who's also known as Sharon. Thank you to Kevin, called Big Wave. We're going to say something about the Madeira Beach, Florida Nest. Then from Southwest Florida, thank you to Essex. Thank you to the Pritchett family. Really great. They've been communicating. I so appreciate their help and their support to make the stream better, giving me a lot of background information. Thank you again to Lady Hawk, of course, Susan Ozuk, who writes, I am the admin of a group on Facebook called Joy and Tears, a memoir of Ozzy and Harriet, Southwest Florida, 909 members. Really marvelous, really marvelous. Let me just get myself a little bit closer here. There we go. There I am. By the way, those eagles in the background are real. That's my picture. This is not some kind of photo montage. This is an absolutely real picture that I took here in Vancouver. Amazing, isn't it? So let's go on with the acknowledgement. Also to other admins, Tammy Lau, Nicole, of course, Nicole Bednar, who's been communicating to me a lot about from Messenger. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Nerviano and Sasha68. Then Boo also asked me, Boo Vasa asked me, am I going to come to the nest? The answer is yes. I seriously intend to go to the Southwest Florida Nest and the Northeast Florida Nest sometime, probably end of January. If someone could give me some indication of when these little ones just look above, I'll do some live streaming straight from the nest, which would be absolutely marvelous. Then, of course, the berry nest, as always, it's Gina, the photographer, and of course, the great Belladonna. Okay, I think I've got you all. Amazing, all this communication I got from you. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you all here. And so let's get to the news, and let's start with the feature, the amazing feature. And I was deeply touched. I was really deeply touched. I'm going to just jump to the other map so you can see what I'm talking. We are now in the center of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. I'm just going to get my head out of the way here. Let's see, this is the one, that's better. Get my head out of the way so you can see. We are right in the center of Washington, D.C., and that's going to be the nest that's featured. Of course, we'll talk about all the other nests, all the material that you've sent to me, so don't worry, it'll all come. But I thought, let's start with this great D.C.Nest, which has an incredible history. And I have to start with an incredibly touching note from Tommy here, which really, really moved me. And if you haven't seen what they produced, I will just read this out, what he writes here. He says, Laura told me to reach out to you, and you might be interested in doing a small piece on the nest of liberty and justice and the Earth Conservation Corps. We would love it if you did. And of course I will, absolutely. One of the most intriguing things about liberty and justice, and Mr. President and the first lady, of course, the first lady in DC, is that they are the result of a wildlife success story. Absolutely amazing. If you did not know that, the last bald eagles abandoned their nest in DC in 1944. Can you believe it? 1944. No eagles ever returned until 1994, when the Earth Conservation Corps, as part of an ongoing effort to restore the Anacostia River. And the Anacostia River, you can see, by the way, on the map, it's on the east side of Washington. So that's looking directly at the map, and I'll show you the location of the nest in a second. So what they did was marvelous. hang on, I just got to get my notes back here. No eagles ever returned until 1994, when the Earth Conservation Corps was part of an ongoing effort to restore the Anacostia River, brought 4 hatchlings from Wisconsin to a hatch box, and they released 4 every 4 years. So gradually they got rid of this incredible pollution. They worked incredibly hard for 7 years, very moving, very touching what people have done in a positive sense to the environment here. And then in 1999, the first pair returned to DC to start mating, Monique and Tink. They were named after fallen corps members. Then in 2004, Liberty and Justice returned to the nest at the police academy. And then came the big moment in 2013. I'm not sure whether it was 2013 or 2014. That is where the president and the first lady arrived and built a nest. Incredible story. So let me just jump across the screen here and show you, where am I here? Let's bring up the screen. And this is the amazing video which I really would like to encourage you to see. It's so touching. On the 2nd of July 1999, that time President Clinton honored this whole group for what they've done in Washington, D.C. Absolutely moving, really fantastic work. So I'll just play that incredible part here to you. And that all has to do with what you can do to conserve the environment. Really wonderful, really wonderful. I'm deeply touched, and I have the greatest respect for this initiative. And there you can see the eagle is in front there, and it was a huge celebration. So it does show what one can do to restore and conserve the environment. Really beautiful. So then, just if you want to see that, there is something about this movie. Endangered Species was released in 2004, and they have a description there. So once again, if you are interested in this, it's called the Earth Conservation Corps. Go to their homepage. I will put all the links later. I've got thousands of links, so I will try and remember to put all the links below the video once we released all this. Okay, really beautiful. Then, of course, let's look at the homepage here. Beautiful homepage on Mr. President and the First Lady, Washington, D.C., and you can see it is it is in D.C. I can never pronounce this word, Arboretum. It's Arboretum, no, sorry, it's pronounced Arboretum. So Arboretum is a botanical garden of trees, Arboretum, Eagle Nest Cam. And they have a lot of the history. They've had quite a tough history too. Really interesting to read. They started, if I remember correctly, in 2016 with the cameras. I just have to look at my notes here. Installing cameras, went live, and as far as I know, I'm just looking at the forum here, as far as I know, their cameras are not yet live. Is that correct? I think they're going live in at the end of December, if I understood correctly from the moderators there and so on. So if that is correct, just let me know. So let's have a look and see what we have from them. Let's see. Yes, one of the viewers wrote to me about called VA Eagle, and she or he, I don't remember now, has a very nice page too. So I'm definitely there if you've got something nice to share. I'll show you web pages here. Also something on the DC Cam, on the D.C.Nest. Let me just see where I am now with all this. That is correct. That is VA Eagle. That is right. So in Virginia, and she's been watching this. Yeah, Sherry's been watching this nest for quite some time. And then Janet writes a lot about this nest too. So let's see where we have something from Janet. Oh, I know. I have to jump now. I have to jump to my folder because she has sent me a whole... you know, there's so much information here. Let me see. This is the D.C.Nest, and I think this was mostly from Janet. Beautiful pictures here of the D.C.Nest. Okay, there you go. So there's the pair, and let me just slide this from one to the next. Of course, many intruders here, as you can see. A visitor, well, there have been lots of visitors, by the way, this week. Lots of visitors. And really incredible pictures, close encounter. There's Mr. President and a visitor. Typical. Very likely that these visitors are nestlings from this nest. And there's another visitor. They usually come back to the territory. And there's the beautiful picture of DC4 on the 29th of March, which is a wonderful day. It's my birthday. So they did the great coordination here. Really beautiful. That was the first egg. And there, I don't know whether there's Ma or Pa. You can see one of the cameras of the nest, beautifully done. And here we go. Here's Janet. And I'm just going to jump forward, Janet, and just show the part here where an intruder is chased away. So let me just put that part in because I really love this capture. Very nice. And there we go. Whoom, it's gone. I think that was the First Lady, if I remember correctly. Same in super slow motion here. Look at that. Really intriguing. Get out of there. Oh, whoops, and there you go. Very nice. Thank you for that. Beautiful, beautiful capture, Janet. Very nice. Let's see what else. There was one more. No, there are a few more here. There's a nest picture from 2016 here of the juveniles. And you also showed me here some, I think, oh yes, those were, that had to do with nest restorations, if I understand correctly, right? And here's another movie. This is quite incredible because, I mean, this is absolutely stunning. Look at this. This must have been last winter. Yeah, that's right. It was on the 13th of March, really cold in Washington, D.C. Look at that. There is the... Isn't that wonderful? I think at that time they laid eggs already. Yes, because it's the 14th of March and they hatched on the 29th. So this is incredible. Both covering the eggs as best they can. Really incredible what eagles can do. So as long as it doesn't rain, it's not that bad because snow actually insulates quite well. But you can see how tough eagles really are. Really beautiful. Thank you, Jen, for all that wonderful footage. Let's see if that was anything else from DC. No, that's all from the D.C.Nest. So thank you for all the information that you sent on the D.C.Nest. Really marvelous. So now we jump to the Northeast Florida nest. And there is a lot from Lady Hawk. Who else would it be, right? Lady Hawk's got this incredible, she's got a lot of followers, over 8,500 followers. And she does these incredible videos. There's a sub-adult that visited the nest just now, and of course we're going to go into the little ones too, but I just wanted to show that quickly to you. And what's interesting about the sub-adult is that if you look at the beak of the sub-adult, some of you will recognize it. Isn't it incredible? So let me just go back to the folder because she's given me something quite incredible here on footage. There we go. Here we go. If you look at this, she says Dahlia, that the name is, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Dahlia is that's a 4-year-old, right? It's 4 years old. And look at the very distinct beak. It's incredibly big and curved. And here you can see Dahlia in attached 2013, a photo from 2014. So, sorry, 3 years ago, right? It's hatched 2013, photo from 2014. So it's maybe 3.5 years old, right? And you can already see the the beak very, very clear. So I think this is incredible. The amount of evidence that Lady Hawk has given here, really superb to support the fact that this seems to be Dahlia, right? So yes, Estelle, this seems to be Dahlia. I'm just looking at all your comments. That's I think that's absolutely magnificent. Okay, so yes, that was on the northeast. That was the Northeast Florida nest. That was the intruder. Gretchen's note I'll leave for a second. Let's see what else. And then, of course, the marvelous story. First, of course, the hatch of NE18, which was incredible on the sorry, on the 9th of December. Really beautiful captures here. And then shortly thereafter, I better switch this off so the sound doesn't come in. I have to watch out that I switch off all the videos, otherwise you're going to hear more and more background noise. And here, of course, NE19, shortly thereafter. So that was on the 11th of December, really beautiful. And they're both doing very, very well. So fingers crossed that it'll continue this way. Northeast Florida has had an incredible history of consistency, really an incredible history of consistency, very different to the thrillers that are going on in the Southwest Nest, as I found out from the Pritchett and from Essex when I went through the whole, and I think it was also Sharon's notes, who kindly sent me notes last night. If I go through all the notes, my goodness, that's been quite dramatic. But you can see really beautiful, so big celebration to start the, to start the Eagle year off this way. Very, very nice. And then this is incredible. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, I just love this. You get this beautiful evening light and you have this turkey appearing there. I mean, this is so funny because you may know that Benjamin Franklin wrote to his daughter about, and this is also not to misunderstand what Benjamin Franklin actually wrote to his daughter, but he preferred the turkey to the eagle as a national symbol for the United States. He didn't say to abolish the eagle. He never said that. That is misquoted. He just said to her he prefers the turkey, and he correctly quotes the eagle as a scavenger, but he sees it negative. I mean, Benjamin Franklin is not perfect, right? So he got that one wrong because we're all scavengers. I'm a scavenger. We go to the supermarket. Well, what do you think that is? And I'm sure Benjamin Franklin was also a scavenger. So let's not forget we're all scavengers. We don't hunt anymore. And the bald eagle is very important in the conservation of nature because it has its role there. And a turkey does it differently. Okay? So I think that's just the correction there. Interesting to hear what Benjamin Franklin said there, right? So let me just stop that video. And so thank you, Lady Hawk, for that. And then another beautiful link here. This is, I opened this link because they have everything in here. On Flickr, and they have one, and I've forgotten where it is. They have the installation of the cameras, and the installation of the cameras is a subject of its own. It's absolutely incredible what effort goes into it. I have been along with David Hancock up in a nest on the installation of cameras. It's so much work. It's so much work, and here is another one from the American Eagle Foundation that actually shows you how. Oh, there's somebody who says, Christian, I don't agree with Franklin. They said the bald eagle's a moral character. Yes, I wouldn't take that too serious, right? I really wouldn't. I wouldn't. I also don't agree, by the way. I just saw that. But here's a beautiful movie. I think this was a few years ago. That was in March 2014. And I promise I know what effort goes into putting cameras up. It's quite incredible. It's a very difficult job. The difficult job is not what many people think is just putting a camera up. The difficult job is the cabling and to get everything secure, which depends a lot on what type of trees you have. In Florida, very different to the trees that we have here, which is Douglas fir and so on. So that's an incredible job that you can see that the and I'm so glad we have the Northeast Florida cameras here. So a big applause to the job that you do to to keep these cameras in shape. Really fantastic. So really fantastic. So that's it. And now let's jump to the, so that has all been the Northeast Florida camera. So now let's jump to Southwest. And Southwest, well, thank you again to the Pritchett family. A very kind letter together with Essex, giving me a lot of eagle data. So the Pritchett nest And the whole background, and I'll get to that in a moment, I'm sure you know, is incredibly dramatic. Oh my goodness. There's not a year that passes without some major thriller going on at that nest. Last year, one of the eggs was not viable. You probably remember that. And we'll go into that because I received this beautiful table, and I'll go through all the data that they have. But I just wanted, for those of you who haven't seen it, they have a 360 camera, really the first 360 camera that exists of any eagle nest. And it's really marvelous because if you have a touch screen, you can move and you can really change the angle in any way you want. Beautiful job, beautiful. So what has been going on? And I've been talking about right in the beginning of the Facebook group called that remembers Ozzy. Okay, Ozzy died probably, as far as I know, in a car accident. Well, unfortunately, that is rather typical. The usual way that eagles can die in car accident is because there is roadkill. If you do see roadkill, and without putting yourself in danger, I have to say that, without putting yourself in danger, if possible, remove roadkill from the roads, because unfortunately eagles get killed that way. If you have the opportunity, I've done this many times with David Hancock, he's a great example there, here in Hancock Wildlife Foundation. He stops, takes the roadkill away, of course only if it is safe for you, only it is safe for you, because it can, you know, it can be quite dangerous. So there's Remembering Ozzy, beautiful story, all about Ozzy. And then, yes, there's another one from Lady Hawk just a few minutes ago. And there we go. Let me just, there's a beautiful visitor in the nest tree. So that is what happened today. So the news is right up to date. Was it today or yesterday? I don't remember. Yeah, no, it is today. It is today. The 15th is indeed today. So this is what happened. So there's another beautiful visitor. She just made me aware of this 1 or 2 hours ago, right? And so on. And there's so many beautiful videos. I'm sharing all the information here that I got. So just look through all, you know, there's so many contributors here, and I certainly don't want to miss anyone. So let's jump finally to the berry nest, okay? The berry nest was covered in snow the last time we saw it. It's gotten better, but something really odd happened at the berry nest. There seems to be a very strong intruder there, a very strong intruder. And the strong and powerful intruder, and I'm just going to show you this clip here. Let's see what happens. I think that's Popeye in the nest there. And he's just going to, I think he's going to be, he had some food. I think he brought some fish, if I remember correctly. And then goes up to the, you know, goes up to the branch. I hope I got the right moment here. There's so much information. I might not have stopped this at the right moment. So just hang on. Oh, yeah, there you go. No, is he going now? Is he? Yeah, there's some squabble going on here. There's some squabble, and he's being displaced by an intruder. That is incredible. Honestly, I had not seen this before. And that is a dangerous sign, actually, because in the white rock nests, we've seen intruders exactly at that age, probably around the 4 or 5 year old, probably a nestling from the berry nest, coming back to the nest and trying to claim it. Of course, there's food in the nest. And that's the, by the way, the difficulty we have with the urbanization of eagles, because they also change their habits. And that's why it's so important to have you all as citizen science here, where you note, and they're incredible event logs for nests. There's an incredible event log, by the way, also on the D.C.Nest for last season. So go and look at it. I forgot to mention it. Beautiful event log there. That tells you everything that has happened. And I remember also Lady Hawk shared an event log with me about all the food that's coming to the southwest nest, and I'm sure the same exists for the berry nest, right? And it can be quite a stress for the parents, because if this intruder gets used to the nets, they can kick it out. Maybe 4.5 years old, I would agree with that, yes. It's probably about 4.5 years. That's correct, because that would match the egg cycle of that, or the mating cycle and the egg cycle of that nest, right? So yep. So something to watch out for, right? Something to watch out for. Let's see what else I have. Yeah, let me jump and make sure let me jump quickly to another note here from Kevin. Yes, this is Kevin. So Kevin is an avid watcher of Eagle-Nest 2, and he is reporting here about it's near St. Petersburg. That's right. The beach that he's observing. He sent me some pictures, and this is typically for a cell phone tower mast. They're very high, and there's an eagle's nest up there, as you can see. So he sent me these pictures, and he observes that. So if you have any pictures, you know, of nests, just send them to me. I'm very happy to share them with everyone. The beach here was, let me just look at my note page, because there's so much information that I want to share with you. That was, let me see, which was, that was Madeira Beach, right? That was Madeira Beach, Florida, near St. Petersburg. That is the pictures that he's been sharing. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Thank you very much. Then let's just see if I haven't missed out any other pictures. Berry, yes, there's something on Berry. Gina, let's look at Gina's pictures here from the berry nest. Very nice. Thank you, Gina. So let's share this quickly. Beautiful. Here's a beautiful collage. And I think this was, and I have to read your notes here. I think this was this from last year? It must have been from last year. Correct me, Gina, if I misquote this, because there's so many things. And another beautiful picture here from Gina, really incredible photography of some nest building going on. Another here from Gina, very nice. And there's the pair. I think it is last year's pair. Is that right? I hope I'm getting all this information right. This is wonderful. This is upside down. I think this was Pa of the berry nest upside down, if I remember correctly. And beautiful flight pictures. Oh, and there's some squabble going on there. It's a mating or squabble, whatever it was. Really incredible. Oh my goodness, what a picture. Look at this. Isn't that incredible? Thank you so much. Hi, Gentleman Ghost. I wonder if there are similar Eagle Watch Cams International. The answer is absolutely yes, there are. And we can, of course, they're not bald eagles, but, and we can discuss this later. Let me just jump quickly to what Gentleman Ghost is saying there. I was in the Southwest Florida chat room yesterday. What a joy. They have admins who are so knowledgeable. And the question was, how many sea eagles are there? Sea eagles. You probably, if you know Latin or it's actually Latin Greek, you will know that the family of our eagle, the fish eagle, is called Haliaetos, that's right. And the white heads is Leukocephalus. Leuko means white and cephalus head. Okay, so in German it's called Weißkopfseeadler. It's a direct translation of the family and then the species, the species name. So the in English it's just called the bald eagle, is just one of what I've now learned 11. There are 11 sea eagles. I was aware that there were 8. I wasn't aware of that there were 11. If anybody can put the names of all the 11, or is it even, there are 12 species. Is that so, Carl? Is that right, Carl? Carl says there are 12. Well, if there are 12 different sea eagles, can anybody give a link to this information? That would be great so everybody could share. I was aware of 8, but I wasn't aware of 12. Quite fantastic. So please go ahead and share that information. That is really unique. It's probably due to the DNA that there has been new... so great question, Gentleman Ghost. It's... you know, you can learn a lot from these chat rooms. It's quite outstanding. Quite outstanding. Okay, so that was from Gina. And Nicole, you also sent me, oh my goodness, Nicole, you sent me so much information. Beautiful. So Nicole, what she does is she zooms in. So I think the question here, if this is probably Pa, Nicole, make sure that I quote you correctly here, because the question was, you know that the mama in the berry nest has a broken left talon, a broken left foot, and I think it was about an injury here that they were discussing on Papa. As far as I know, I think that was the relevance here of these pictures and the discussion. I don't know anything further about that, but I believe this is what it was all about, right? That's a picture from Max Hester again. This very nice photographer. Okay, so different analysis here. I think that is the right foot, so that cannot be a mama. Okay, here it hurts left. Oh, it hurts left talon. Okay, there you go. So there is a video that she shared with me. Dad is being gentle with left talon. So the question is his left talon injured or not? Thank you for sharing all that. There's so much information that I received. You know, lots of details, very, very good observations here. So tons and tons of pictures. I hope, Nicole, you make this available for everyone, because it's really beautiful documentation. Thank you so much. Really beautiful. So that was the berry nest. Okay, so we had that one. Let me just make sure I get to all the information here. So I think we've done the southwest nest. Yes, we've done southwest. So finally, there are two things I would like to discuss with you. I received beautiful information. Let's start with the Northeast Florida camera. So they provide information in form of a PDF, right? And what I did, I translated it to Excel. And I'll show you why Excel is great with this. And this is only possible because Gretchen, well, Gretchen, you did an amazing job. She's done the most amazing. She stood in all weathers, meticulously documenting this for days and days throughout years. And that's the value that we have here. So it would be a pity if we wouldn't analyze the data and say, well, what does that really tell us? Because in the Northeast Florida nest, we have Romeo and Juliet, and this time it's not not with Shakespeare, it's not drama. It seems to be a very consistent story throughout the years. And that helps for a lot of data that she has put together. And I'm going to just open my sheet here. So that's the Excel sheet. And what you can see here is I have, oops, 1 second. Let me get back. I have put all her information together meticulously when the eggs were laid, when they were hatched. And what I did, and that's the beautiful of Excel, you just have to put a consistent data format into it, and then it automatically calculates everything, right? So the nice thing about Excel is if you enter it in a certain consistent format, we can do statistics. So let me just tell you something a little bit about statistics here without boring you to bits. Yes, Gretchen rocks, absolutely. So let's talk. There are two main data that we are interested here in, and there's a lot more, but let's talk about the main data. The one is the incubation period, and the second one is the nestling period. The incubation period is the time that you have from the moment the egg is laid to the time where it hatches. That's called the incubation period. The nestling period is defined as soon as it hatches until it leaves the nest. That's called the nestling period. Okay, so this is just to get the definition right. Now that we know that, we can try and extract that information from her data. And it's quite a spreadsheet. If anybody wants a spreadsheet, I'm very happy to share this spreadsheet with you and upload it on Dropbox so you can download it and you can do your own analysis with it. So what I've done here, I've just entered Gretchen's data. And I just want to talk a bit about what is an average. Well, you think I know what an average is. It's not that simple. Let's say we have a consistent incubation period of 35 days. 35 days. Because that is the common knowledge on the incubation period. So it's 35 days. Well, let's say there's a nest where in 5 consecutive years, or in 6 consecutive years, you have 35 days. Well, that means the average is clearly 35 days, because you would add up 6 times 35 divided by 6, that gives you 35. Let's assume you have another nest where it is 35, 36, 34, 37, 33. and it comes to exactly the same average, 35. But there's a big difference between these two nests, and that's the decisive factor. There's a big difference. In one case, we call this the standard deviation. The standard deviation in the first nest is 0. It is like 100% hit, always 35. In the other one, there is a spread, and we call this, when we assume what a normal distribution is in statistics, we can do some statistics on it and predict what the behavior of the first and second egg is. And that is only possible if you have very reliable data. And that's what I've done here with Gretchens data. I have looked at what the mean value is, the average value of the first incubation, and what the mean value of the second incubation period is. And you can see here we go through the, I'm just going to magnify this in so you can see what I'm doing here. So you can see here clearly, you go through the years 36, 36, 37, 38 for the first incubation. For the second, it's 35, 35, 35, 36, 36. If you analyze that data, I'm just going to make it small again, you come to an average. And I don't think I put the average on this to not overwhelm you. Yes, it is. There's the average. So the average, and that's interesting, the average for the first incubation is actually 36.75. And now comes the standard deviation that tells you a little bit about what the deviation is. It's not exactly that. It tells you plus minus 1, and that falls into a certain probability curve. Okay, I hope I'm not getting too statistic with you, but it tells you something about what the spread is here. So what is interesting here about the incubation period of the first egg, it's a lot longer than the second egg. And so the first is 36.75, whilst the second one is 35.4, much closer to 35. So if you ask me if I should predict when Southwest Florida is going to have a, when it's going to happen, the hatch, not the pip, the hatch. The hatch, I predict it's either going to be late 25th of December or the 26th of December. That is my prediction. So it is not the countdown of the 35, unless the Southwest Florida camera, the Northeast, if they use the count, if they use the 35 count, then they would come to the Southwest Florida. Now I'm getting confused. So gosh, now I'm getting completely confused here. Wait a sec. This is the Southwest Florida nest. I'm sorry. I mixed it up. I messed it up. Sorry, I got too many sheets. Let me first talk about the Southwest Florida nest. This is the Southwest Florida nest with all the drama. I mixed the sheets up. My apologies. We're talking here about the Southwest. The Northeast has had it already. I was thinking, what am I talking about? So this is the Southwest. So the Southwest, based on the data they have, and they don't have a lot of data. So you can say, Christian, be careful with your statistics, and I completely agree. So in the Southwest case, we would have the 26th and probably the 25th of December. That's my prediction. So what they do is they procrastinate the incubation period a bit so that the two eggs match them more. Eagles can do that as long as the temperature variance is not too high. So sorry, I started with the Southwest. So for Southwest, I'm predicting 25th, 26th, and for the second nest, for the second egg, the 27th. So let's see if that is. So let's jump, and you can see in the spreadsheet, oh my goodness, now that we're at the Southwest, so many things happened here. In 2013, E3 passed away. Ozzy was there. In 2014, E5 passed away on the 20th of January, and Ozzy passed away. That was the car accident on the 29th of... Then we had a nest collapse in 2015. My goodness, E8 was attacked by an owl. That's incredible, by an owl. Does anybody have footage of that owl accident? So many things happened. Then in 2016, we remember, 31st of December, where the one egg hatched and the other one was not viable. So let's hope 2017 is going to be a smooth year, and let's see what the prediction is with the countdown. That's what I meant with the countdown. So they predict on the countdown, you're predicting 24th. I'm predicting either 25th or 26th. So let's see. And now, sorry about that, Gretchen. I apologize because this is the spreadsheet I meant to put up. Let me just close this one and get yours up. Sorry about that. There was a mix-up. Here we are. This is Gretchen's spreadsheet. Quite incredible. Here we go. So here we are. This is Gretchen. You can see there's Juliet and Romeo. Okay, and if you go back and look at all the data that I entered, it goes. This is an incredible spreadsheet that contains all the possible data, and I've checked it twice. I hope there are no errors. I entered all the dates. When was she goes in such detail? When did Juliet first arrive at the nest? When was Romeo seen? When was the first mating, the first incubation, the second incubation? Then we calculated the hatch date due, the pip conformation, and so on. The first branching, the first fledging, the date that the fledglings left. When did Romeo leave and Juliet? Oh my goodness, Gretchen, what an incredible, overwhelming statistic. That is the most detailed stats I have ever seen of any nest. And seriously, this is brilliant. I can't praise, I can't praise her enough for this. So based on that, I did predictions. I did some predictions. And now you can hold me accountable for my predictions. Here you go. I predict that NE18 will branch on the based on all her data, on averages, on the 21st of February 2018. However, this prediction, as you can see, has a range because the average value, it varies quite a lot. Branching is not as precise as you think. Fledging, on the other hand, has a much narrower margin. So I'm predicting branching somewhere around the 21st of February, but it could also be as late as the 26th of February. I'm predicting fledging on the 27th of February, and because she's got so much data, it could be all the way till the 4th of March, somewhere on that, right? So this is the prediction. And then when are they going to leave? We can go much further, right? So I'm predicting that the fledgling on the northeast will leave on the 3rd of April, but it could be as late as the 16th of April, somewhere in that. It could be earlier than the 3rd of 2, but I think we have a shift more to the other side, okay? And then I'm predicting that Romeo, this goes even further, I'm predicting that Romeo will leave around the 15th of May and that Juliet will later, she seems to be much longer at the nest, will leave on the 21st of May. So let's see how this all is doing. Okay, this is not the absolute truth, but it's amazing data. Congratulations to what you have here. I love it, absolutely love it. So that's how valuable data can be, right? So let's see if this works out. So let's remember that the branching is somewhere on the 21st to 23rd of February, okay? Just based on statistics. I did not take any external data. I didn't care about what others said. I didn't look up anything. I just based it on her data because there is so much, there's just so much incredible data here. So thanks to that. And you can see why this data is so valuable, right? And if you do want the spreadsheet, if it's okay with Gretchen and everybody else, I'm happy to share this spreadsheet, and that's an absolute pleasure, right? So please, continue. Southwest Florida Nest, brilliant jobs, brilliant, beautiful cameras, very nice predictions. You've got a much tougher, you've got a thriller running there, and then you've got the Northeast Nest with a really consistent Romeo and Juliet, and then you got the Berry Nest, a lot of drama happening there too. I haven't seen so much data on the Berry Nest too, but I'm sure we could do something similar for the Berry Nest and so on. And for the D.C.Nest, I think from 2016 possibly onwards. I haven't had time to look at that, but if anybody could send me data on the D.C.Nest, we can do similar analysis. But you can see how precious this type of data is, okay? So very nice. Very nice. Then finally, how are we doing with time? No, we're doing fine. 3/4 of an hour. I'm not holding you too long. I have two more things that I wanted to show you. Let me just go back here to my DC broadcast. I wanted to show you what can happen. The Hancock Wildlife Foundation has beautiful videos, and this is one video. And now hold your breath. This is what can happen when an intruder comes and destroys an egg. I actually saw this. I remember this time very well. This was on the 28th of April 2013. So one moment, and this is probably also a nestling. And you're not going to like what you're going to see now, but this is reality, and we shouldn't interfere with eagles because this is part of the cycle. There's maybe a reason why things happen here. Okay, so you're going to see something really drastic now. So this was taken with, I've borrowed this with kind permission here from the Hancock Wildlife Foundation. So this clip is also not too long. I think, let me just spool. Yeah, I think he's going to go here now. Waiting first. And there with really quickly destroying the eggs then. Okay, just bung and that's it. So this can happen, right? This can happen. Very tragic. But that's life, right? That's nature. That's the way things go. I'll just spool a little bit forward. Yes, and then it was too late. It was much too late when Ma or Pa came back and the eggs were both completely destroyed, right? So yes, this is normal. You're absolutely right. I can see the comment. I mean, some may see this very emotional, but this is the way it goes in nature, right? I did want to show you something else. Let me see quickly if hopefully I have it here. Yes, I do. This is quite incredible. This is quite incredible. If you ever want to see what a lot of eagles look like, this is what a lot of eagles look like, right? Right out of our areas, right? One flying right nearly into my face there. And I wanted to show you something quite remarkable here. And I promised every time I would bring you something really unique. And I have so many unique stories that I don't even know where to start. And that comes to the final question, which we'll discuss in a moment. But look at this. This is taken in Dutch Harbor. Dutch Harbor, Alaska is fantastic for eagles. Now, what I did here is I stood with my camera at a fixed spot, and there was a fish. And I was watching how an adult eagle compared to a juvenile catches a fish. And I overlapped them so you could see that. And it's really interesting to see what skill it takes for an eagle to completely master the art of grabbing a fish. Now, the way to understand this is you have to imagine the wings scientifically like a swing. It's like a swing. You're on a swing. They're rocking backwards and forwards on a moving swing through the air. And that's what's happening. So the moment they reach the ground, they put full brakes on and they take a massive swing grab, and they need a lot of momentum forwards in order to catapult themselves back into the air. How do they do it, and how does a juvenile compare to an adult? That was the question here. So here you can see one big difference. If you look carefully, the juvenile has its tail feather at a lower angle than the adult eagle. So there is a lot more skilled steering going on from the adult here. That's the first picture. Then comes the next picture. This is the decisive moment. Look now what's happening. The adult is really using the wings, as I explained before, as a swing to gain a lot of forward momentum, is putting everything into it, catapulting itself forward to get the right moment to grab where it touches the ground, okay? And you can see the juvenile doesn't do it as well yet, right? It has to learn the skill. And then comes the next picture. That's the moment, or just the moment after it grabs. You can't really see the difference here, but the timing of the adult is just perfect. It's perfect timing. And then the difference you can really see, oh, sorry, there. I don't have that picture. But after it takes off, that's what I can tell you. The juvenile was flapping like crazy because it nearly stood still while the adult just went whoops, grabbed the fish and took off. Really beautiful difference, right? Beautiful. Thank you for before something bad happens at the nest. Okay, well, that's good. I'm just reading all your comments. So really a very nice, you know, a very nice comparison to see. So finally, what I wanted to say, first of all, thanks for, I see so many people here, 195, so over 200. Thank you for joining and making this all possible. I so much value that. Send all your information. There can never be too much information. Okay, so this is my Gmail address, and thank you for joining. I also wanted to say, is this something that you would like to have more frequent? Because at the moment I'm doing it every Friday at 5. What I could offer it to do it once, 2, or even 3 times during the week. But then the question is, will you have time? Will you have time, let's say at 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern time? Is this something you would like to have more regularly? Because I have enough information to fill the There's so much interesting information on eagles that I can share, and I do prepare these, as you may have noticed, with a lot of care. So we could increase it. For example, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, instead of doing the 5 p.m. Eastern time. But I need to have some feedback. If there is enough, if there are enough viewers, then I can make this happen, because that way I will get something back that I can, that I can also live on. That's the importance, right? It's not much, but it's something that keeps me going, right? So, so if there is something of interest, we could introduce that. But I don't know how many of you work during the day, and I'm sure there are quite a few who work during the day, and where you can say, well, that's not going to work for me. Maybe we should just keep it at 5 p.m. I can also do it at 5 p.m. But the disadvantage of doing it at 5 p.m. is that, of course, the nests are dark then, right? I can't show you the real time, but many of you will say, I don't care, because I'd rather have 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, because I have more time there. So it depends completely on what you think. Once a week format is good and the time works well. Okay, doesn't interfere. That's fine. Just extend this broadcast and I can do that. That I can do. You'll have enough viewers, Christian. Okay, great. Some say more. I'm reading all that here. Lady Hawk says, I loved your video today. Yes, that's for Lady Hawk. That's great. I will fit you no matter what time works. So I'm getting a very, very different opinions here. That's interesting. So really beautiful. So I would like one more session. Okay, you know what? Maybe we start with 2. How's that? We'll leave the Friday one right now where it is, and maybe I'll do one Tuesday or Wednesday. Or I can. Jackie says, can you extend this one? And Gentleman Girl says maybe 3 p.m. Best for East Coast daylight. That's fine with me. Okay, love the Friday evening chat. That's fine. So we'll keep it. Christian is Northeast Florida. Thank you for sharing. Well, that is absolutely great. And Gretchen's information has been outstanding. I completely agree. And thank you so much for being here. So, maybe let's see. What is the date today? Maybe let's leave it for next Friday for now. And then when we get closer to the Southwest, which I predicted would be the 25th or 26th, then maybe we can extend it by one, by maybe another session, and we can make the Friday session longer. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Okay, for your knowledge. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I got so much. I have 20 pages of notes here that I've been trying to memorize because it's so many notes, and I'm sorry I mixed up the the data from the Southwest and the Northeast, but I did notice it. Okay, sometimes that happens. Okay, so we'll leave it for now for next week, Friday 5 p.m. and then once we get this wonderful hatch at the Southwest at the D.C.Nest, we will extend it. Okay, let's do it that way and go from there. Take it time. Take it one step at a time, and after the holidays would be better. So end of January, I will try and go and see the Northeast and the Southwest. Next time, I just wanted to tell you some incredible things what I'm also have been doing. If anybody of you interested to see many eagles, photographing eagles, I am at the moment giving photography one-day courses where you learn everything from imaging to processing. We go out, do eagles on one day, and I show you all the secrets. There are no big secrets. I give them all to you, okay? And you learn that in one day. If you're ever interested in that, send an email to me at SassePhoto@gmail.com. Tell me when it works for you, what Saturday or so, and I will try and put a one-day workshop around it in our area. Really beautiful between January and March. The other thing I wanted to mention is, really interesting, I've been working together with a raptor, with a falconer, and come March, April, June, I'm going to offer workshops for a whole weekend at a falconer, which is incredible. So you will have the possibilities to photograph different falcons and hawks in flight as they perch, and I'll show you all the imaging techniques and everything you need to learn. If that's of interest to you, let me know also. And next week, I'm going to show you some very unique. Next week, we're going to do we're doing the Channel Island, so don't miss the Channel Island broadcast next weekend. And also what I will show you is some really unique slow motion videography, and it's real slow motion, 1000 frames per second of raptor feathers, in this case from different hawks. The way you will see the most incredible things of motions on wings that you may have never seen before. And this is what I'm also doing. I'm going to do the same with eagles. That's my specialization, is now moving more and more into seeing the fine-tuning of feathers and why feathers behave in a certain way. There's a PhD student in UBC that is doing her thesis on this, and I think this is something really interesting, okay? I would be the one holding the falcon. Very good, Cheryl. That's great. So that's just a little bit of outlook. So it's going to remain very interesting, and I just love your contributions. Love all of your contributions. If I haven't acknowledged someone, it is not intentional. I have such a long list, and I'm trying to organize everything. I really want to thank you all for being with here, and being with all the eagles around. It's absolutely magnificent. It's so magnificent to share this with you. I want to be in as many chat rooms as I can. Sometimes I don't have the time because I'm consolidating all the data, but I think it's just a lot of fun to see where we're going. So on that note, have a wonderful weekend, all you eagle-holics. So let me just jump to my other page. I have to stop the stream there. So yeah, have a wonderful weekend, all you eagle-holics, and see you next Friday. And don't forget to keep on writing, sending me lots of images and information. I just love it. Thank you so much. Okay, fine. Bye.